That's right. I'm going to try and fix the 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The one that did well because it got a sequel, but it was widely crapped on. People did not love this movie. I saw this in theaters, and I remember when I saw it in theaters, it was the day, and I'm bringing them up again. So if you're listening to the clip, you have to go back and watch the podcast. But I'm watched this the day Robin Williams passed away. I was kind of bummed out. So I went to the movies, and there was nothing to do. I went to like a little Cineplex, that two theater Cineplex. Sat down in a seat. I was just chilling out, and like there was like a mom brought like 4 kids in. I think they were like 9 or 10 or whatever, and they're sitting like a few rows behind me, so whatever. And I'm watching a movie, whatever, and these kids are like watching it. They were, I didn't care if they were talking through the whole thing. It is what it is. So as we get through and we finish this movie, and I'm like, what is this? Like, what did they just make? What did I just witness here? These kids are freaking out. Now, I'm just telling this story before I get into my fix. These 4 kids are like, I want to be Donatello. I want to be Raphael. I want to be Michelangelo. Oh, you should be Leonardo, blah, blah, blah. And like, they're like, let's go home and play. It's like the mom took these 4 kids out, and I know they were going to play Ninja Turtles. And it warms my heart because it reminded me when I was a kid watching and playing Ninja Turtles. I always got to be Michelangelo. Loved it. But yeah, that was so like when I watched it, so there's always like a soft spot in my heart for 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, even though it's not great. But there's a soft spot in my heart for it because I saw those kids freaking out and like wanting to play and like identifying as the characters. Like that was always something for me that was like will always resonate, and I love that. James asks, which is worse, TMNT 3 or TMNT 2014? I will say 2014. I'll say 20. Probably 2014. So, all right. 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a reboot. A very gnarly CGI reboot where live action and CGI, where the 4 turtles really don't look like turtles more than they do look like mutant green things, passing themselves as turtles. April O'Neil, of course, is played by, she is of course, a news channel reporter, Channel 6 news reporter, and she is played by Megan Fox. Shredder is in it. William Fichtner plays the Shredder's right-hand man in the movie, Sash or whatever his name was. I'm not even going to go over the names on this. I just had to sit down and watch this movie, and it is not great. But the whole premise of this movie is very sweaty, and it's too convoluted and too much craziness going on at any given time. So the Shredder, and his buddy, played by William Fichtner, run this company, which is not TGRI, or is TGRI. They kind of touch down on it, but they don't really touch down on it, and then they kind of get into a weird place with it. It's like Saks Industries, but so they would test, when April's father was young, he was a scientist that worked for Saks Industries, and he and his partner, who was William Fichtner, would test chemicals on small animals and things like that, and 5 of them were Splinter and the Turtles. And April would hang out there. She loved them. So when there was a fire in the lab, she saved the animals and set them free. They had the ooze injected into them, so they became, as we know, the Ninja Turtles and Splinter, the rat, the ninja rat and turtles. And now, as the rise of Shredder and the Foot Clan are coming through the town, she is investigating this, and she's leading it back to Sax because Shredder and Sax are teamed up. And she's trying to connect with Sax to let him know, like, Shredder's out there, the Foot Clan's doing this. And, as she meets the Turtles and starts to become familiarized with them and who they are, and Splinter, Shredder realizes, and Sax realized that they freaking convoluted this movie is. They realize that she knows who the Turtles are, and they were part of this Project Renaissance, as they call it. That's why they're named stupid. That's why they were named after the Renaissance painters. And yeah, freaking Job is in the movie too for some reason. He's our camera guy. Um, Will Arnett, because he, whatever. So this whole thing happens where basically it sucks. It just sucks. They didn't do it right. They tried to tell a bigger, more fantastical tale than they did in the original. You want to get this right? You want to fix this movie? Tell the same tale. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but fucking formula. Why do we need this big corporation? We have TGRI. Fine. It can be a faceless corporation. Why does Shredder have to work for it? All right. But if you want to tie them together, or you want Shredder to be the boss, make Shredder the boss. Show his face. But he likes to moonlight with his ninja clan. Fine. Or fine, he's controlling Sax, but in this, he wasn't barely even in it. Shredder was barely even in the movie. It was ridiculous. This whole thing was just sweaty and annoying. And then even when he wasn't even really fighting. He was in this big mechanicalized suit. All right, I realize that this isn't me fixing it. This is me more bitching about it. But it isn't annoying. I realize I have a soft spot in my head, but that's literally it. With those kids wanting to play the game. This is not a soft spot. This episode's going off the rails real fast. But in reality, if you're going to fix this movie, you need to tell a more subtler tale. This gets so overblown, and I think that's what they do with the Ninja Turtles in such big ways. And I don't mind in certain times. I don't mind in the cartoons when they build up to like these huge epic things that happen or these movie events that happen because they build up to it. When you have your first movie and it blows up and it's this huge thing, it's crazy. If you don't keep it neighborhood bound, it's nuts. They're 4 mutant ninja turtles in New York City today. Okay, or even if you want to go by 2014 standards, everyone has a phone. Everyone has some sort of video or camera capability and can take pictures of them. You're not a ninja for long. You're not hidden for long. Sorry, Shredder, you're not hidden for long. Your Foot Clan's not hidden for long. Especially when you're openly just chasing reporters and such. And one of them is a cameraman. It's nuts. So if you're going to fix this, you need to bring it back down to a street level sort of movie. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The Ninja Turtles have always been a street level sort of comic book. And that was what its charm was. And again, the cartoons and the comic books went to an epic place. And I'm not even saying the movies can eventually go to an epic place. But what are you doing? Like the first one, like they have huge skyscraper battles and like people are seeing everything that's happening. Now, granted, by some will or grace, nobody saw a Ninja Turtle in the movie. So whatever, but they all saw Shredder and the Foot Clan, so they all know who they are. But whatever. It's annoying. It really comes down to the fact that it was too big and too all over the place, and they lost control of what it was. We've even gotten out of New York City. They go to upstate New York. They kidnap the turtles to what makes no point, in my opinion. They make it. There's no point in any of the kidnapping of what's happening for where Raph has to go and save them and bring them back. Like it to come back to New York. It was just a stupid, wild, adventurous ride that just didn't need to happen. And it just took away from the story that you could have been telling. You could have been character building. You could have been making this good. One of the best things about the Ninja Turtles was there's such rich characters when they're all 4 of them are different. But in these movies, they were so goddamn similar. So my fix for this was to update it, show the challenges of having to be a ninja, having to be teenagers, mutants, trying to be ninjas trained. We're in a world where you're in New York City, the busiest place, the most populated place with the most cameras everywhere, and not be caught, seen, or heard anywhere. That would have been so interesting, but do it from the perspective of both sides. Shredder now trying to take over a city in secret. That would have been great. And April desperately trying to make a name for herself. So she is going after this Foot Clan because she gets a taste of it. Get rid of the father storyline of or being connected to the Turtles in any way. Get rid of all that stuff. You don't even need to, like they did in the original movie, you don't even need to explain the TGRI or what's going on. You could just say, like, listen, it was I don't know, it was 15, 20 years ago or whatever. We got mutant crap on us, ooze, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. And then tell the story. And then just tell those challenges and have some fun with it. They're going to be a great idea. And practical. Go with practical or better motion cap. Do not put the movie out with how they look. They look terrible. I don't know who passed that along. At least like make their faces look somewhat recognizable. They don't have to look exactly like they did in the cartoons in the 80s. I get it. They look juvenile in the 80s. But at least make their faces look like turtles, one. Two, recognizable to the fans. And three, make their, at least have their personalities and who they are shine to us. I think if you're going to fix this movie, you need to bring it down. So that's my biggest fixes for this. You bring it down to the street level. You show all of the problems with it, like, them trying to overcome all of these issues of trying to stay hidden while Splinter is staying, and maybe the frustrations with their father of him. He's always underneath the ground, not worrying about it while they're out there doing the thing. I would also love to see a cool reboot, of the comic books and how vicious they were early on. But I get it. This is the kids thing. And you want to go with that. But even if you do it with the fixes that I'm saying, you can make it a kids movie. You can make it work. You can make it fun. You can make them teenagers where they're having fun. And that's what's pushing the limits, and maybe they learn from Shredder, out of their frustration with Splinter. Shredder starts to maybe lure them in and say, hey, think about hanging out with us, whatever. Or maybe one or two of them, like Raph or something. And like he starts to learn the ways of the ninjutsu through Shredder. I think that would have been an awesome fix for it. Something different, something that adds an element to it that tells us why they're still effective ninjas in a world today. Tells us it's a street level movie, so it doesn't seem so bloated and we're wondering where the hell is everyone. Why is New York not understanding what the hell's going on while cranes and all this other crap are happening? So it just drives me nuts that they didn't push into this. But I think this new movie is going to be really good. This new Mutant Mayhem, it may be big, but it's animated. I think it's going to be fun. It seems like they're going to be playing it up a lot. It seems like they're going to be taking a new direction with the villains, so I'm excited for it. Let's see what James has to say. James says, didn't they learn ninjutsu from a book in that movie? They did. You don't have to do it that way. You can tell any story you want to tell. I'm not saying it has to be that way. I'm not saying that movie has all perfection in it. But what I'm saying is it's a better movie than we got, So let's push for something like that. Like it's a street level type of movie that we really enjoyed. And like it made sense to us. Not this overblown stuff that they keep giving us. I'd love a Stephen Capelli Jr. Or someone who cares about the Turtles property to do a live action reboot. It worked for Transformers. Yeah, I agree with you. That would be really awesome. But I would love to know what you guys think. Did I fix the movie? Did I fix Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 2014? Do you think my ideas would work to incorporate a better version of that movie? Sound off in the comments. Please let me know. Or you can sound off in the Discord. Talk to me there or any one of our social networks. You can see all the stuff that we're on here at the bottom. It's all over the place. Go check us out. Follow us everywhere. We have links down below in our link tree and all that. So please join in. Let's have a good time. Talk about it. It's going to be fun. So I'm Mick from the Scene Snobs. I want to say thank you to my guest co-host tonight, Chris, for joining in. We had a really good time. He's awesome. He's a good time. His movies are fun. And it's always nice to really have him on and really talk about like what he's got going on and things like that. He's been on a show a few times before, not just Real Combat, but some other stuff as well. So go back, check out some of those old shows and stuff and stuff like that. But next week I have a very special episode planned and it's going to be a lot of fun.